We're smack in the middle of the festival of the breaking of the fast. Happy Eid al-Fitr to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Good morning. Welcome to your perfect day start of the morning brief. I'm Kayode Okikiolu.
Happy Eid al-Fitr to all Muslim faithful. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.
So this is a progression. Ramadan, that's the month, the holy month of Ramadan is over. That's the 9th month in the Islamic calendar. And we're now, according to that calendar, in Shawwal, which is the 10th month in the Islamic calendar. So just in case you're wondering what exactly is going on, yes, so there was 30 days of fasting, the moon was sighted, and the fasting officially has come to an end. Now is time for celebration. I know a lot of people try to catch up on all of the things they missed during the Ramadan fasting naturally. But of course, the prayer for Muslims is that the prayers and the fasting will be accepted. So we want to wish you happy festivals and congratulate you for making it through. I know it's going to be a lot of festivity today. By the way, this is first of the two major festivities for our Islamic brothers and sisters. But come on, Jeffrey, the road is free.
Yeah, the road is perfectly free. I was driving down like, what exactly is going on? This is not Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, but it feels so good.
Right.
So for those who are not Muslim faithful, let's tell them happy holidays.
Right.
And for our mothers, let's say happy Women's Day. It was yesterday.
Mothering Sunday.
I was speaking to my mom yesterday, and she was like, I don't even know how to keep track anymore of these women, mothers, and all of that. Yeah. But I was able to remember, so I wish my mom, my wife, and every woman out there a happy Women's Days. But it's a holiday, and Lagos is usually the commercial nerve center and the hub for a reason. That if you come into Lagos using Lagos-Ibadan Expressway today, you will realize that no, there's nothing commercial nerve today on the road. It's just as free as a bird flying in the sky. So I know this is going to last for maybe another 24 hours after today, and then we'll get to that hustle and bustle yet again. But it's important, Kyrie, is the fact that people need to take a break sometimes. Yeah. Especially if you live in Lagos. Sometimes I just feel like, can the world choose a day and time, a possibility where everybody will just not go to anywhere, just stay in your house, just chill. Let's just slow down. But no, the world doesn't stop. It keeps working, it keeps moving, it keeps pushing. But what do? That's why the young people say adulthood is a scam. Now you have to make ends meet, do the best you can, constantly challenge yourself to push yourself ahead. But so that we don't lose track of the season of the holiday for our Muslim brothers and sisters, it's time to pray for Nigeria's unity. It's time to pray for better direction for our leaders and all of that. I know the president has made comments as well over the weekend when he hosted a couple of persons. At the end of the day, it's about how best we can move our country forward. Forward means different things to different people. For some, their forward is our backwardness. For some, forward is forward. It's for us to be able to decipher which is what and be able to support the best we can, because Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we must put our house and our hands together to make sure it works. But what do we have?
Well, I'm still looking forward to the coming holidays, because it looks like this is going to be a season of holidays. Once we're done with the two holidays, today and tomorrow, there's another one to look forward to in about 3 weeks. So this period is usually like that. I think there was a time that the holidays were almost simultaneous.
Yes,
right?
it was very close. It was
very close for the Lent and the Ramadan, and then the holidays came. So it's a good one, a good reminder that we all need to catch some breath, really, because that's what you need for productivity. You can't keep working and expect that your body will not give in at some point. It will if you don't take time to rest. Now, we're starting on that note on the show this morning. It's a time of celebration for Muslim faithfuls across the world. And here in Nigeria, well, like every other part of the world, really, economic realities may reduce those celebrations. We'll be speaking with an imam to find out how his people are finding joy even in the midst of the challenges.
And away from that, we'll head to where we'll talk about your health. It's important to all of us how you take care of yourself. So balancing all the treatments and preventative measures and all of that, we'll focus on your heart as well. We've been doing this for a while now. So today, if you want to understand a bit more about some parts of your health, it's going to be a good time to join the program right here on the Morning Brief.
And in a bid to increase participation of Niger Delta youth in nation building and also empowering them, the Niger Delta Development Commission came up with, guess the what, the Niger Delta Sports Festival. And we'll be speaking with a member of the commission's board to talk about the stage of plans so far and the proposed outcome of the initiative. We know we love our sports.
Absolutely. So quite a novel idea, Niger Delta Sports Festival. And from there, we'll get to our morning chapters. It's basically where we highlight authors. So there you see him, Dele Momodu. Needs no introduction. His book, Pendulum. He'll be joining us to x-ray that book and maybe speak on issues around the nation. Join us again.
Yeah. We'll be taking a peek into his presidential run as well. He wrote another book chronicling that. So it's a mix on the show this morning. But finally, our tech consultant will be giving us tips on how to extend and maximize the lifespan of our personal computers on the show later. And that's, of course, PC Fix. But I may just be missing one of the most important parts of the show.
Yeah, we highlight women in business and women in general. Today is the end of the Women's Month. So today we'll be talking to some women in the food and fashion industry that then bring us up to speed what they are doing and how you can learn a thing or two from these women.
There you go. It's a packed show for you, especially for you. So let's get right into it, starting off with the front pages of the dailies. Never mind that it's a public holiday. The news never sleeps, right? So we start off with the Vanguard newspaper, and the Vanguard leads with a very, very sad sight that played out over the weekend. Uromi killings. CDS, CAN, PFN seek justice for victims. And I think overall there's been unanimity in the call for justice. And that's how it should be, really. When something as barbaric as that happens, everybody should just stand to be counted when it comes to calling for justice. No need to pander towards either religious or ethnic grounds. Let's just stick to the issues and call for justice. And I think this is the way forward. And you see, Sanusi warns Kano youths against reprisal. Kano sends delegation to engage Edo government. Okwebolo suspends security chief. Perpetrators must face justice, rep spokesman. And Zioluwo saying Nigerians should feel safe in all regions. And I think it goes without saying. So this is something we're following up on very closely to ensure that justice is served. No to jungle justice. We've gone past all of that.
It was a very sorry sight to see people being lynched to death. So I think this should be an opportunity for us to tackle every other injustice that has been perpetrated. We've seen all kinds of killing in different parts of the country, and we've seen the charges brought against such persons. And this should not be swept under the carpet. I know they had complained that some of the suspected herders have been, killing people in that area, but you don't resort to self-help. But this should be an extension to every other form of crime in this manner, like the Deborah issue, all of that, so that people will know that all lives matter. The most important thing here is that all lives matter, whether it's happening in Kano, Borno, Edo, Rivers, Cross River, Benue, all life matters. So these people who perpetrated this, I guess the security persons they are talking about here that have been suspended, maybe the vigilante group, because when you hear security chief, I'm thinking of the CDSs and all of that. Not exactly, please. I'm sure it's a local authority in terms of security, but it was a sorry sight. I don't think you should go and watch it if you haven't seen it. Just read the headlines and just ask for the right thing to be done. And every other person who has taken a life knows what is aimed for him or her, as far as this is concerned.
Indeed, Jeffrey. The person suspended, as you said, is a commander of the Edo State Security Corps, CP Friday Badin, retired, alongside all those described as illegal vigilante groups operating in the state.
I think beneath that, before we go to the next daily, is Nigerians to pay more for petrol amid domestic dispute crude price hike. I know that the last time I stopped by the filling station, I was told it has increased to
900?
9 something. I know I bought for 8 something. Now it has increased to 9 something.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. They say that when the price of crude goes up and goes down, we should be expecting all of this. But sometimes our economy is insulated. When it came down, we felt it a bit. You know, it came to 8 something, now it's going up again. Anyway, let's go to this Nigeria. That's the next daily we'll be looking at. The FCT minister has greatly transformed our city. That's according to the president. Wike residents pay Salah homage to the president. Yes, so I think that is not in dispute. You may not like his politics. In fact, a lot of people don't like his politics. But when it comes to his work, I don't think that is in dispute. He gives his heart and soul, especially when it comes to infrastructure. If I have my way, he should also go to power, whether he can, because somebody joked and said, if you send Nyesom Wike to power sectors, either the people that are stopping the power will die or he will die. There will be, that's just exaggerating it. But I think the president has a lot of confidence in him when it comes to the work he's given him to do. We can argue about his political activism or political activities. That's another kettle of fish. Okay.
Well, we're in for a very interesting time.
Yes.
Build up to 2027 when you speak of politics. Remember, the president spoke over the weekend about when he told the FCT minister that, well, if you want me to do this for you, that's the TSA bit, then you have to make sure that my party wins FCT, understanding that you are from PDP. And it's like the president just talked about the elephant in the room, what we've always raised. When elections come, who will the FCT minister campaign for? But we're getting ahead naturally, but don't forget politics. Politicians.
It is what it is. I believe that in 2027, the 2023 anti-party activities we saw is going to be a joke. It's going to be broad-scale, large-scale anti-party activity. So it's going to be a difficult one for Nyesom Wike to support his party. I would like to say, I will be here by the grace of God.
Which is his party?
The PDP. Well, it's PDP in by registration. In spirit, maybe it's still is in the APC. But the president had told him, help us win the what do you call it now? The FCT, because the PDP has always won the FCT. Yeah. But it's not in the hands of the FCT minister. When he gave that instruction, I was a bit worried. I knew it was talking politics, but I know some of these guys can take it literally. It is not in the hands of Nyesom Wike. It's not even from the FCT, by the way. It's the FCT people that will decide for themselves who they want, whether they are not interested in presidents or not.
So anyway, be it, Jeffrey. Blueprint is next. And of course, Blueprint focuses on the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. Tinubu, Sultan, Alaafin, others urge compassion, charity. Governors harp on love, religious harmony. Nigerians won't regret backing Tinubu for second term. Ganduje. So I think it's in order that I'm also talking second term, because clearly they're talking second term. In fact, they're already planning for 2031 now, Jeffrey?
Yeah, of course.
We're saying 2027, right? But it's 2031 now that is in the works for a lot of people. But take a look at this story, and I think it's been in the news for some time now. On remitted revenues, reps secure $14.2 million from oil firms, shoot recoveries to 50 billion naira. And the writer, as 4 others get 7 days to remit $23.2 million. So if you want to understand what exactly is going on with this unremitted revenues, you find more details, but I find it really concerning that has lingered for quite some time now. But hey, it looks like the committee is doing some work. Where is that money going to? What will it be used for? That's the usual question that we get to ask, but rarely would you find answers to those questions. So this is something we'll, of course, keep tabs on.
I think before we leave, let's talk about The Guardian. It's an important headline. High interest rate choke real sector as banks break 1 trillion naira profit threshold. I think it's Zenith Bank that reported 1 trillion naira, and that has been, instead of people to celebrate, they've been concerned about the debits they get from their account. But again, the interest rate is quite high in Nigeria, double digits in the 20s, and it's still very high. So this is affecting the real sector, the productive sector, the construction, the manufacturing. Those are the real sector that drive, what do you call it now? Jobs within the sector and drive the economy. So how are banks, because we have always been unsure of how this happens. Banks will be posting record profits and the economy is dying. So what is exactly going on? I think if we go down and check all our 50 kobo, 10 kobo, some of these banks allegedly may be stealing from us.
No, we've had issues. People raising the alarm and saying, I got this debit, and then they raise the alarm, and eventually it is returned. Sometimes it lasts for a while. So we've had those cases. But generally, you understand that the banking sector is, first, the most liquid sector. And once you are liquid, naturally, you're able to do other things with the liquidity.
Look, I believe there's something going on in the sector that we don't know, that we need to, and they are not ready to tell us. That's the truth, because there's a lot of, is it bills or levies, or I'm looking for the right word, the technical word.
That's the point. That's how they are liquid.
They charge you for everything.
So you pay for the service.
There was a time I bought something, and then I paid for something, it didn't deliver, but they still charged me, and they didn't return my money. So
and imagine if you multiply that by.
So these are the 10 cobbles that I believe if we sanitize the banking sector, corruption will reduce, because politicians can't do anything without the bankers. One day we're going to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So as we're calling on politicians' head, we need to call bankers' head too as well. Anyway, my sister is also a banker.
There you go. So those are the front pages for you today. And I think the point is quite clear. The need to ensure that Nigeria's wealth goes round. I think it goes without saying. They say that if you're a rich person amongst tens of poor people, you're considered a poor person. So that's the point here. Ensure that things are done right. We should distribute or redistribute wealth properly. But let's take a look at what you've been saying about the big stories. And of course, it's Eid al-Fitr. Let's see what you've been saying as Muslims around the world celebrate the end of the holy month of Ramadan, now the month of Shawwal. We begin with this one from, guess who? Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, you understand, Cristiano Ronaldo plays in Saudi, so naturally he has to wish Muslim faithful happy Eid al-Fitr. So this is what Cristiano Ronaldo has to say, saying, wishing everyone celebrating a blessed Eid Mubarak. May the special time bring joy, peace, and happiness to you and your loved ones. You know, Salah during Christmas.
Yeah, it's always causing upset.
Right. So Ronaldo is wishing, and I think this is what it should be. There shouldn't be that, no, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Hey, it's a free world, or at least it should be.
I think this is coming from Kofi Amoaban. Eid Mubarak to you too. Wishing you and your loved ones endless joy, peace, and blessings on this special occasion.
So you see the outpouring of love for Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's take this last one from Mukesh Tiwari, who says, a good person is one who respects other religions while following his own religion. That's from Mukesh Tiwari, still responding to Cristiano Ronaldo, saying that you're an example of humanity and this goodness of yours takes you to great heights. So I think that should be the spirit. We just wanted to set the tone with Ronaldo's post about...
I think let's go to the issue around petrol prices or PMS prices. I think that's the right way to say it. Increasing our fuel stations. I have experience. I haven't bought since it increased. And I know that where I buy PMS, I understand it's gone from the amount we used to buy to 970 or so. So, Tohik says halting Naira for crude oil is starting to kick in. The government doesn't want citizens to have peace of mind. This is what they want. Okay, you have the next one.
I'm trying to decipher that. All right, Mr. Olawale is next, saying, when it was 875, there were no changes, or there was no change in price commodities. So I think what is saying, if it goes beyond, if it goes higher, there should also be no increase. Since when it came down, prices of things in the market didn't come down, according to this user. So I'm helping you to extrapolate. I hope that's what Olawale is trying to say.
All right, this is coming from Olusegun Big Fish. Said that was the plan when NNPC stopped the crude for Naira contract with Dangote. And who's the last person here?
That's how AI Ken saying it was 950, 955 when they celebrated the pump prices crashed. And I see hence food inflation also crashed. Obviously, this user is not having it, saying that those thinking witches do not exist are yet to look up to appointees. Come on, we understand that you're not happy about this, but I think it's also good for the players to really speak to this. So we had a crude for Naira agreement, right? And then government says we're going to review this after 6 months. And we've not gotten clarity on the direction. Will it be renewed? Will it be ended? But this is the last day in March, right, Jeffrey? So we should be able to find out today or tomorrow. But with the sector, it always works with futures. You need to know how to plan. So if we don't have any word yet, it's most likely that it wouldn't continue. But the point is, this is strictly business at the end of the day. And I think that's something people don't understand. A lot of Nigeria's crude, the futures and forwards, have been sold ahead, right? So how much crude does Nigeria really have to swap? A lot of issues, but maybe we'll go to the next one, Jeffrey.
Yeah, so that you know our crude has been sold for your future and my future. It's actually be sold by the NNPCL. I don't know how long you're going to clear that, all of those obligations before we can get. If not, would be no more than enough sufficient. President Bola Tinubu condemning the murder of those traveling, those hunters that were killed in Uromi in Delta State. So these are your reactions. Sunday Truck says this is horrible. Really horrible. It is really horrible. Insecurity is a major cause of this, and the government is less concerned to provide solutions. Honestly, no one should lose their lives like this. Justice must be swift.
Definitely. And this user, Nico, says, can we know the identities of the so-called traveling hunters? This user says, which states are they from, and where were they heading to? Are they really hunters? Are they really Nigerians? Proper investigation must be carried out. So I think all of these things can happen at the same time, and I think it's part of the investigation. But the point is, justice must be done. You cannot take the law into your hands. You're not a law enforcement. There's a process. There's arrest, there's a processing, there's a prosecution, there's a court, and then there's eventual declaration of guilty or not guilty before any punishment can be meted out. And I understand there's been lots of challenges in that area, but 2 wrongs, they say, can't make a right.
All right, before we wrap up, let's get to where the president, in part of the people who visited him, he had said that in those meetings, he nearly quit the 2023 presidential race because the odds were against him. Ikechi is saying that if there is a way to build a movement by winning these people over with dialogue, kindness, and around clear ideologies that are consistent with human freedom, okay, is there a way with human freedom and prosperity? So for the record, Nigerian politicians, I'm sorry, with the greatest sense of respect, there's no ideology in our politics. So if you're expecting ideology, look somewhere else, not here at all. That's why they keep changing parties every now and then. So it's not, even within the same party, they have different ideology. Momodu Buhari had a different economic ideology from President Bola Tinubu. So that's how inconsistent these ideologies are.
To be fair, Jeffrey, maybe there's some sort of ideology. Inconsistency in ideology can be an ideology.
Not having ideology is their own ideology.
The ideology is move wherever the spirit. They always say our people.
Bola Tinubu, by our president, is right of center in his economic ideology. President Muhammadu Buhari is left of center in his economic ideology.
Yeah.
But they are the same party.
Oh, yes, within the party, you have Buhari's, you have Tinubu, you even have people for former vice president, of Shimbajo, and, it goes on. And that's why you see some of those, I wouldn't call it divisions, really, but there's just usually disagreements over ideology and policies. But basically, that's what the president said, but clearly he didn't give up. In fact, they're planning 2027 already. So those are the issues that you have been speaking to. We'll take a quick break now. And when we return, we're starting off with the big celebration of the day. What does a day signify? What does it mean? And how can it transform the reality for a lot of people? That's the moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. So let's get right into the celebration of the day. And this has been a month in the making. The holy month of Ramadan, the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, is over. And now Muslim faithful are celebrating Eid al-Fitr. And we're joined on the program this morning by Imam Olorunishola Mosque College, Ogbar, Ifako, Lagos. He's a proprietor and director, Kuliyartu Risalatil Islamiyya, Daoud Adegboyega. Good morning, sir, and you're welcome to the Morning Brief.
Yeah, good morning, thank you.
I can see the excitement on your face, the joy on your face naturally. It's been an intense month of fasting, praying. So what is the feeling like first for you? I can see the excitement, but walk us through how you feel having completed the holy month of Ramadan. And now I imagine that you feel prayers answered, you feel lighter, you feel more holy. But that's for me. What is it for you?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, as Muslims, when Ramadan finishes like this, we feel fulfilled. So, because we know the reason we are doing it, and by the time you finish it, so you feel you have accomplished one of the greatest things that you are devoted to as Muslims. As Muslims, you believe in God as one and only, and then you are given some responsibilities. So one of those responsibilities is that you fast in the month of Ramadan, believing that God Almighty is going to reward you abundantly. And because of that reward, when you finish it, you feel fulfilled. And that is the best thing. That's the major thing that we do it for that reward.
Beautiful. I know that a lot of people sort of switch. Once it's Ramadan, they switch gears. And then once Ramadan is over, they switch back. You hear, I think there's a song that is popular now, of things you shouldn't do during Ramadan. But for some people, it looks like once Ramadan is over, they pick back those things. Is that what it should be like? Or you should still maintain that piety, that holiness, that approach all through?
Yes. So that point is very, very key, that people are switching back to their old ways after Ramadan. That is not what it's supposed to be. Ramadan has been given to us as a school. So that whole month is a school to teach you what you are supposed to be as a Muslim for all life. So everything that we do during the month of Ramadan is what is expected of the Muslims to do throughout their whole life. Abstaining from sins, being obedient to God Almighty, doing your duties diligently, being good to yourself, to God, and to mankind. So when you do that throughout the month of Ramadan, you are not expected to go back to your old ways. You are expected to continue in line with what you have done during the month of Ramadan, and that makes you a good Muslim.
So, for those who are struggling with that level of consistency, how can you help them?
Yeah, and that is why the Ramadan, like I said, is a month. The month is seen as a school for the Muslims. So if you are unable to get it right this year, you are expected, but by the time the next year comes, you still learn, you practice during the month of Ramadan, then you come out better than what you were. Of course, we are not expecting you to be perfect 100%. Even God Almighty doesn't expect us to be perfect 100%. But as time goes on, you keep on, like he said, that we are struggling with that level. So you keep on changing from good to better, from good to better. So that is what Ramadan has come to do for the Muslims.
I like that perspective. It's like a school. So you keep learning and you keep getting better and better. And that's a very interesting perspective. On the side, though, I see the way you pronounce Ramadan is different from my own. Is this a function? Is this a function of your height in Islam?
Is there any difference from it?
I say Ramadan, but you say Ramadan.
Okay.
So is it the level, the Imam level now that brings the pronunciation?
Well, you know, it's Ramadan is Arabic language.
Right.
So, and we are not Arabs. So there is going to be a difference from the way we pronounce and they pronounce. And because of the training that we have, and because of the work we do, that we do on a daily basis, we teach, we also learn and relearn. So there could be a difference from the way I pronounce it, from the way you pronounce it.
So yours is more correct. Yours is closer to Arabic than mine.
Yes. Definitely, my one is going to be more correct than yours.
Definitely. I'm still learning, and that's why you're the imam.
Yes, exactly.
But you know, the context that we're celebrating Eid al-Fitr now is, some will say things have always been difficult in terms of the economy and all. Some will say it's always been difficult. Some say they've not remembered a time where things have been very good, as they say, the good old days. They'll say if it was then too, there was economic meltdown, there's been COVID, you know, there have been different issues the world has faced, particularly Nigeria. But this is, for a lot of people, even much more difficult because of the price of things and the market, you know, how much salary they get. Some don't even have jobs. So how do you celebrate in the context of the difficulty that some people are facing? What is the mindset meant to be?
Yeah, Islam sees the worldly life as a test. And so Islam teaches reliance on Allah, on God. Islam also teaches perseverance. It teaches patience. So in any situation we find ourselves, so that has been the shock absorber, that you are patient, you rely on God, and then you persevere. So you are patient, you persevere, and then you rely on God, believing that if Allah wishes, it's going to get better. Even if it doesn't get better on the surface of the heart, you have been given a glad tidings that when we do our diligence in worship of God, so no matter how difficult it is on the surface of the heart, we are going to leave this place one day. We are returning back to our God, and our God has prepared for us enormous rewards in paradise. And that is what Islam has taught us. So because of this, of course we will pray, like we did in this just concluded Ramadan, like we did. We prayed to God, and we are very sure that God answers prayer. So, and very soon everything is going to be better. So that's our belief.
So that's from the spiritual side, you know, you have to look to God, and that's the message being preached. But some will say, how then do you balance it with the physical side? Because obviously there are people in charge of things like the economy, security, the government, right? So some say, how do you stand on those two legs? Still trusting God, but ensure that you're holding those in government accountable. You're speaking truth to power. So government will not think, thank God, these ones are relying on God. We can do anything we want to do, and they don't mind us. So how do you strike that balance, Imam?
Yes, like many of us know that Islam is also about the spiritual aspect that you have mentioned, and Islam is also about a governance. So the aspect of governance in Islam is that the leaders are responsible as well. Of course, we rely on Allah. We believe that everything is in control of God. Yet, they are we are to hold them accountable and responsible for whatever that they do, their policies and the likes. And that is why we also talk to them, we advise them, we admonish them. So if, as a leader, whether a Muslim or non-Muslim, we believe that as leaders, they are accountable to us. They are also accountable to God that has put them in that position. So let them know that if you do good, then definitely you'll be rewarded. Like I said the other time, that we believe we are returning back to God, and God is going to reward us. So for those who do good, they have the good reward with God. And those who do otherwise, yes, there is punishment there. So because of this, as Muslims, of course, we rely on Allah. We believe that everything belongs to Him, and He has the control. Yet, we talk to them, they know that if they have done the right thing, they are going to get reward from God. And if they are done otherwise, there is punishment for whatever they do. So Islam holds, believe that they should be held responsible for whatever that they do. So I don't know if I am able to answer.
So can people take it ahead and then hold the leaders responsible as well, based on that understanding, and say, okay, God will hold them responsible, but I also have a responsibility as a citizen to call for good governance. So if this road is bad, I can say, yes, God will hold you responsible, but I will also hold you responsible. Leader, this road is bad. Leader, what did you use that money that you budgeted for? Leader, why don't we have a health care establishment here? Or why don't we have schools? So how does it work practically?
Yeah, in Islam, there is a method for orderliness in the society.
Yeah.
So for orderliness in the society, of course, we are going to call the leaders, we hold them responsible. So yet, we don't cause disorderliness. So the way we do it, we are not going to be too
hard
on them. No, I don't want to use the word hard.
Right.
So what I mean is that we are not going to antagonize them in such a way that there is going to be disorderliness in the society. We talk to them, we admonish them, we advise them as well, so that we are not going to be too antagonist in such a way that there is going to be, because definitely they will resist. For instance, now, what people call protests and the likes, sincerely in Islam, we don't encourage things like that is going to cause disorderliness in the society. So what is encouraged in Islam is that you talk to them. And the way you talk to them is different from the way you are going to talk to people that are not in the position. People that are leaders, that are in position, they are like fathers. They are like mothers. So if I want to talk to my dad, even if my dad is wrong, and I want to talk to him that, Dad, what you have done is wrong, there's a way I would do it. That I'm not going to sound rude. Yeah. I'm not going to sound like a rebel. So that he will not see me as an enemy, then he will not try to fight a rebel. I don't know, in me. So as not to cause disorderliness. Like I said the other time, we make them realize, if I'm talking to a Muslim leader, I will make him realize that God would hold you responsible for whatever that is happening now. Indeed. And definitely there's reward. Here, not only in the hereafter, here there is a reward for whatever that you have done. Right. And because the Muslim will surely believe in this reward, whether punishment or reward in paradise, we believe in it so much. This is what Allah said in the Quran, and this is exactly what made us Muslims, because we believe in the words of God. Well, so definitely it will help. Yeah. It's going to help. If I believe in Quran, I believe in the tradition of the Prophet, and I was told that Allah will punish me, then that should at least make you sit up. So definitely it will help me to refrain from what is bad. Two things I must ask you before we close on the program today. I know some people have said religion is some way to keep the people and keep them poor, keep them docile, keep them as sheep in that sense. So it just is the will of God, right? And then you've said that, well, you can actually hold the government accountable, but make sure you do it in an orderly manner. And I just remembered one of the stories leading the front page this morning, the story about the sad killing in Edo State. And you hear leaders, in fact, some citizens in the north saying there will be reprisals on social media, saying they'll find a way to have reprisals and all of that. But you've said that nothing should cause disorderliness. So I don't know if you have a message as well to the people in terms of how to approach this to ensure that the law is upheld. I'd like you to speak to that, and then we can close by you giving me one of your favorite verses in the Al-Quran. You can just recite one of your favorite verses. But first, how to ensure there's orderly process to justice, and then that one. Yes. The message is Islam doesn't want us to be violent. Even if you are asking for your rights. Even if you are asking for your rights, don't be violent. So if we indulge in violence, definitely we are going to get violence in return. And that is why everything has to be done orderly. We should be patient. We should also persevere. That doesn't mean that we are cowards. It doesn't mean that we are not going to get our rights. Our rights as Muslims, the biggest thing we are looking up to that we want to get is from God. It's from God. And definitely, God has promised that He will give us some of those things here on the surface of the heart, and the majority of those things are going to be given to us in the hereafter. So if we live fine here, we are rest assured that we are going to get it better over there. So if otherwise, we are also rest assured that it's going to be better when we get to God Almighty. So and the favorite verse that you have mentioned is Quran 2, verse 2:5. Quran 2, verse 2:5, where our God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mentioned that وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أَنَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِ الْأَنْهَارِ. Allah said, give glad tidings to those who believe and do righteous deeds. Those who believed and do righteous deeds. Give them glad tidings that there is going to be for them a paradise under which rivers flow, and that is Al-Jannah.
Beautiful, beautiful. We have to thank you.
That is a glad tidings to all believers.
So that's Quran 2:25.
Yes, that's Quran 2, verse 25.
Beautiful one. We have to thank you so much, Imam, for sharing this very wonderful insights, and that scripture. We've also been speaking with the proprietor director, Kuliyatur Risalatil Islamia, Imam Olor Inshallah Mosque College, Ogbai Faka, Lagos, Dawood Adegboyega. Thank you so much, and I know there will be a lot of celebration later today, so maybe we'll touch base with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we have more for you. We're touching on your health. Just going to talk politics. It's a whole package on the show this morning, this Eid al-Fitr special, so stay with us.
Welcome back. Let's talk about your health. Dr. Paul Bolaji joins us. He's a member of the World Stroke Organization. Dr. Paul, thank you so much for coming on the program.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm happy it's a public holiday right here in Nigeria because of our Muslim brothers and sisters ending the Ramadan fast. So a lot of attention is right here to listen to whatever we have on offer, and health is quite crucial and critical. So it's an opportunity for you to help enlighten as many people that are interested in the subject of managing their health effectively. We want to talk about stroke. Stroke has already happened. So let's talk about preventative measure in terms of heart health here.
Okay, thank you so much, for that. I think there are 5 key components of the healthcare strategies in the 21st century. One is a preventive, and also we have a promotive, the curative, the palliative, and the rehabilitative approach to healthcare strategy. But the key, the most important one, is a preventive strategy. So prevention, as they will always say, is better than cure. It was a president, an American president, that said an ounce, prevention is better than, a pound of cure. So prevention is a very key thing we need, even to prevent, obviously, also disease like strokes and cardiovascular health disease. So, but the key thing, I would want to advocate is that it's very important we emphasize so much on our health. And the key thing I just want to share is actually the 5 M's. The first one is your meals. It's very important to work on your diet. Fruits and vegetables are very key things also for a very good health care, for very good diet. And also, it's been said that 2 to 3 liters of water is very key for your health every day. And also, sometimes some people advocate, eating your breakfast, very key, and also eating your dinner also early. And the second M I want to emphasize is actually misbehaviors, avoiding things that might kill you faster, like smoking, like alcohol, like indulging in drugs, like some people do, even from codeines to a lot of cough syrups, a lot of even cocaine and amphetamines. Those things, those recreational drugs, cut your life short. Another M I want to emphasize is monitoring your health, and that is why I'm very very mindful that it's very important for you to monitor your health. You know, it's key for you to at least, do regular healthcare checkup. It's just like a car. If you buy a new car, you want to service it also before you break down. You need to service your health. And early detection would say is better than cure. A lot of patients, have hypertension as early as 30 years, and they detect that early and they're able to use the medications, and they live up to 90 years with no complication. So it's very important. There was a research actually that showed that, Africans above 25, 50% have hypertension. So when you don't measure your blood pressure, how would you know? And so it's very important as Africans for us to be very proactive about health, to measure our blood pressure, our blood sugar is very important, even our cholesterol level is very important. So as you service your fine, very new car, also service your health. Another M I want to emphasize is which is very key, is move your body, moving your body. Every joint of our body are meant for what? For action. God has given us muscles for us to be able to move. So exercises are very important. I think the World Health Organization will advise up to 30 minutes of exercise 3 times a week. Those are very important to reduce the burden of cardiovascular disease, strokes, and even heart attack. I remember the Aproko doctor said, stand up for your life. It's very important. You should stand up also for your life. And I'll even get, across even to the host.
All right, Dr. Paul, if I may come in just a moment. If I'll add to some of the lineup of things you have listed, I would like you to speak to, I think a lot of people know what is good for them and what is bad for them, from food to the vices that they indulge in. So we may be addressing, beyond telling them it's good or not good, we should be talking about how they can develop inner strength to stay alive. I'd like you to speak to that. People know smoking is going to kill them. Alcohol is dangerous. And all of these things, they know. A lot of people are aware. But somehow, they feel that they don't have the ability to stop themselves. How can we help?
And that actually comes across to my 5th M, which means the mindset. The mindset is very important. Self-efficacy. So you need to understand that you have responsibility even towards your health. It's the same responsibility you have towards servicing your new car, your new house, or the new equipment you have. It is the same responsibility you have even to service your health. So we need to understand that we should have a self-efficacy inside us to be very proactive in managing our health. And I think one thing I just want to emphasize, I watched also the Imam also talked about, about religion. I think religion is very key also, as a place, where healthcare education can be given out. We have a lot of churches, we have a lot of mosques. It is very important for those people even to talk about the importance of monitoring your health, of health, also checkups. Also shout out to, a pastor I know, also the pastor of the Olam of God Church in Ibadan. She does every month, she invites a doctor to speak about healthcare. Every year, she does free medical outreaches, meeting the needs of 1,000 people. So the church, the healthcare, the religious bodies needs to be.
All right, Dr. Paul, yeah.
This health promotion and healthcare.
Fantastic, fantastic. It's an ongoing conversation when it comes to our health. Every other day we need to keep talking about it. That's why we brought persons like you, doctors like you, to help us understand these things better. Almost thank you so much for coming on the program. Dr. Paul Bolaji is a member of the World Stroke Organization. We didn't have time to go into all of the other part. Maybe some other time we will explore its management when these things happen. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will be talking about the Niger Delta Sports Festival. What is it all about? Find out in just a moment. Join us again.
let's get right into it. It's been described as the first ever regional sports festival in Nigeria. Yes, the Niger Delta Sports Festival. About to kick off tomorrow, and we have joining us on the program, as you've seen, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration at the NDDC, that's the Niger Delta Development Commission, Mr. Bumai joins us live from Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Well, good morning, Mr. Ayaye. You're welcome to the morning brief. I see you are dressed sporty. First, speak to us. Is this a way to show off to other regions that we can do it, right? We're first to do this, so you people can follow suit. But speak to generally, what's the purpose of this?
And I wish you a very good Salah celebration. Like you said, this is the first ever Niger Delta Sports Festival, the first sub-regional festival to be held in Nigeria. We felt that we want to go beyond oil. We want to start harnessing the talents that we have. You will bear with me that Niger Delta has a lot of talents. About 60 to 70% of those who represent us as a country in Nigeria in international competitions and meets are from Niger Delta. And there has been a diminishing factor in that sector. And that's why when we go to Olympics, we don't perform very well. That's why when we go to international meets, we do not come up tops any longer. And as a people, we felt that we need to replenish the stock. That's one of the reasons why we are.
Oh dear.
All right, we momentarily lost connection with Alabo Bumai. But not to worry, we'll reconnect with him to speak to this. And I think this is really great, Jeffrey. Okay, I think we have him back. Please go ahead. We lost you momentarily there. Okay, not to worry. We'll fix that. But Jeffrey, I was saying that I think this is great.
Yeah.
Sports is one of the things that unite us. Sadly, one of the things that break us apart is politics. And we see a lot of it playing in the Niger Delta. So I think it's great that this is happening at the same time, while all of the politics seems to be dividing or at least causing issues in the Niger Delta rivers, to be precise. Now, you have sports saying, well, we have more reasons to be united, and I'm glad that it is targeting young people, because what you find most times is the same young people that are used as foot soldiers when it comes to political
violence and all of that.
Exactly. I hope we have him back now. Mr. Ayaye, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, goodness. Please, so you were going to land on that point, then we'll go into other issues, because it's quite important to have this conversation for other regions or sub-regions as well.
Thank you very much. Like I was saying, I said we intend to go beyond oil. Niger Delta is known for our oil production. Everything about oil in this country is associated with the Niger Delta. And so we felt that beyond oil, we can harness the talents that we have. We can discover these talents, groom them, and nurture them. Because we believe and we know that most of the athletes that represent our country come from the Niger Delta. And if we don't produce those talents, continuously produce those talents, then Nigeria will be in a problem. And so the only thing we can do beyond contributing oil to our country is also to produce these talents, discover them, nurture them, and send them to Nigeria to compete in international meets.
All right, Mr. Ayaye, let's talk about some of the games that will be featured in this sports festival. So you can give us a lineup so we understand exactly how many games and what are the major games we're looking at. And possibly, is it prize money now? You know, just a breakdown of the things we should be expecting. So let's begin with the kinds of sports that will be up for this festival.
Okay. Before I delve into that, let me also inform you that we just have one day before the commencement of the Niger Delta Sports Festival, which will be taking place in Uyo, the capital of Akwa Ibom State, from tomorrow, the 1st of April, to the 9th of April. We have about 17 different events, or sports, if you may call them that way, that will be ongoing and in which athletes will be participating in 17 different sports. We have basketball, football, name it, table tennis, lawn tennis, wrestling, traditional sports, Paralympics, athletics, weightlifting, powerlifting, a lot of them, about 17 of them. And we're expecting over 4,000 persons in the city of Uyo, over 3,000 athletes, 500 coaches, officials, technical officials, journalists, over 200, and a lot of spectators that are coming into the city of Uyo. So it's a big festival for us. I mean, and like I said, it's never happened in this country before, and we felt that as part of our process of empowering our youths, this is one of the ways we can empower them by building their human capacity.
Okay, I know there's the Southwest Games. I don't know whether it's in that picture, but the reason I asked is there's swimming in the lineup of the sports?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's swimming. There's swimming. I forgot to mention that. Like I said, there are many of them. There's swimming. There's lawn tennis, or tennis rather, and there's table tennis. And then there's football. There's canoeing. One sport that is particular to us is canoeing. We're also delving into canoeing for the first time, you know. So there are a lot of things that we have put in place for this sports festival. You will enjoy it. Nigerians will enjoy it because it's the first of its kind. Never happened before. What we're used to is either what they call them a state sports festival being organized by different states where you have local governments participate, or you have the national sports festival where you have the 36 states in the committee of states participate. But this one is the first regional sports festival, you know. So we are proud.
Oh dear. Okay. We hope we can reconnect with Mr. Bomayaye, who is the Executive Director of Finance and Administration, who was also a former Commissioner for Sports in Rivers State. Mr. Ayaye, can you hear me now? Oh dear.
As you mentioned, Jeffrey, there's the Southwest Games, which also took place this year. And well, some may say that doesn't have like the regional feel in some sense, like a Niger Delta commission organizing, and this is more of, you know, people coming together and say, let's have athletes from different states.
The reason why
it doesn't have that. But hey, the jury's out there. I would allow the regions to the back and forth.
The reason why I was asking him about swimming, what do you do with the Niger Delta sports without swimming? So I wanted to find out details of whether the event is taking place beyond Uyo. Because if you're doing canoeing, you can't do it in Uyo, for instance. If you have to do it maybe in Ibana, Eastern Obolo, all those areas.
Well, this one is holding in Uyo for now, and we understand that Ondo State is the first to arriving even earlier than the scheduled arrival date. So this should be interesting. I hope we can find more reasons to unite ourselves than divide us, and I think that's what the sports festival for the Niger Delta provides. Mr. Yaye, I don't know if you have final words on this one. The connection has been quite tricky. Ondo State has arrived already. The games will begin tomorrow. How can Nigerians join if they want to be a part of it or watch?
Let me correct the impression. The swimming is going to take place in Uyo. We have an Olympic-sized swimming pool at the Uyo Township Stadium that has been reconstructed for that purpose. And then the issue of canoeing will take place at the marina, Ibom Icon Hotel Marina. There's a marina there, there's a sea there, that the sports of canoeing will take place. So it's not beyond the Uyo. I haven't said that. Let me state that the event will take place the opening ceremony is going to take place on Wednesday, the 2nd of April. And a lot is expected. For those who want to join, who cannot make it to Uyo, we expect that they will all be glued to their national televisions. We have Super Sports is going to beam the opening and the closing ceremony live. And then also a couple of national stations will also be beaming the opening and closing ceremony live. And we're going to have daily highlights of what is transpiring in Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom, every day on major news items like channels, like AIT, like Arise TV, and all that.
There you have it. So something to look forward to in the Niger Delta. We've been speaking with Soboma Yaye, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration at the NDDC. Wish you the very best, and of course, we'll be looking at those talents to see eventually them representing Nigeria. Thank you once again.
Thank you, and be rest assured that we're going to deliver to Nigeria the next Usain Bolt. Thank you.
I'm sure other regions are saying no, but I love this. This is the kind of competition we want amongst the regions. But thank you once again. Well, we'll take a quick break now. I'm glad we were able to have that conversation about things that unite us as a nation. But let's talk about the politics of things, the governance of things, and someone who has been smack in the middle for decades now joins us. We have Chief Dele Momodu is our next guest, so stay with us.
Welcome back. Let's talk national issues. We're being joined in the program by the publisher of Ovation magazine, former presidential candidate and author of the book, The Pendulum. Chief Dele Momodu joins us virtually. Chief Momodu, thank you so much for coming on the program, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
All right, Chief Momodu, when we have persons like you, it's difficult to know where to start from. There's a lot to take from you, whether it's the administration of Bola Tinubu, what's going on in the PDP, your history in the trenches, your history as a publisher, as a journalist, so there are many layers. So, but let's start with the very first, and we can snowball into the others, and that has to do with this book, The Pendulum. You put your thoughts and your heart into this book, but for persons who don't understand what this book is really all about, maybe you can give us an overview of what they expect to get as far as books like this are concerned.
Well, I started writing right from the time I was at the then University of now University, and my first articles appeared in a local newspaper in Ondo State called the Premier Newspaper. I think it was owned by Chief Dele at the time, and it was to express myself about goings on in my country. I entered the University of Ife as a pioneer back in 1978, and you remember that was the year of the Alimos riots. The demonstration was massive. So I was initiated into that demonstration because I was already living with my elder brother on campus. So by 1982, I started writing for the Premier newspaper. Then somewhere along the line again, much later, I was writing for the Sunday Tribune, which was, edited by Podolamiti. Fantastic newspaper. I was also writing for the Guardian newspaper on the opinion page of the Guardian newspaper. And that was how I built up my reputation as a writer. Then by 1991-92, I was editing the Classic magazine, which was owned by me, Elimifikel Mufedamijo. And that was where Pendulum first started. I chose the title Pendulum because my pen could then swing left or right depending on the mood of the nation. And so this is the first compilation I made a few years ago. This was edited by the great writer, the great television personality, Dr. Ben Abati. This was completed while I was in exile, but we couldn't publish it because I had too many challenges at the time. So later, we found time and the money, because it requires a lot of money to publish a book of this quality. This was published in Dubai by one of the best printers in Dubai. So then the second volume was edited by my best friend, Prince Adedamola Aderemi of Ile-Ife. He edited, he's a lawyer, but he's such a prolific reader and writer. So you can see This is the volume 2. So the whole idea is to advise our leaders. I remember I supported President Momodu Buhari in 2015. And barely 2 months into his government, I realized that the government was going in the wrong direction. And I started firing open letters to him. One of the letters touched him so much that he invited me over to the Aso Rock presidential dinner. And he asked me, Dele, what is the problem? And I explained to him that writers are supposed to be men and women of conscience. And worried and troubled about the direction your government is going. So I told him on that occasion that I had said, by then I had not published a book, so I decided to do a compilation. And so I took them to him, even asked me to autograph for him. He was so touched, and I said, I'm appointing myself a special advisor, free of charge, with that portfolio to your government. I will do exactly what I did to other presidents before you. And he was quite happy. Whether it took to my advice or not is another matter. But I wrote copiously every week on the back page of the Tuesday newspaper. And so this compilation of 2 books came later, and they've been very popular because Nigerians, wherever 2 or 3 Nigerians are gathered, you can be sure we're discussing Nigeria. Nigerians are home and abroad are always worried about Nigeria. You mentioned the Tinubu government earlier on. You remember that I was in exile with the current president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. My worry again is that the government that we thought would be more democratic in nature, we've been appealing to it. These days, I don't like pendulum. And the truth of the matter is that I'm actually tired of lamenting like the people Jeremiah. Every day I'm complaining about Nigeria. So what I've done now is, and I realize that people hardly read longer these days. Like everybody is on social media. So I'm employing the platforms of social media where I have about 1.7, 1.8 million followers on Twitter, which is now known as X. I have over 1 million followers on Instagram, over 300,000 on Facebook. So I'm able to reach people globally, instantly. Unlike in the past when you have to wait till Saturday morning to get a copy of a newspaper. So this is what has brought about my collection of works. And if you remember, I also contested the presidential election in 2011. And
right.
So this is a book by my campaign manager. So I am a scholar through and through. I wanted to be a lecturer, but I couldn't get a job. It was joblessness that brought me to Lagos in 1988. I was 20 years old. And so I am documenting my work, and I hope people will find them very useful.
Well, Chief Momodu, in fact, I've gone through Pendulum 1, 2. I'm holding Fighting Lions right now. And, you know, I just randomly opened Fighting Lions, which chronicles your presidential bid. 2011, 2010, 2011. It was meant to be Labour Party, but you had to go to NCP eventually. And guess what, Chief Momodu? When I opened your book, the picture that looked at me, that was staring at me, is this picture. This is a picture of you and current Senate President Godswill Akpabio. And the caption right under it is Chief Dele Momodu sharing the good times with Senator Godswill Akpabio. And, you know, this book has pictures of you with leaders across the world. And I don't know if that gives you an edge, because it looks like you have drunk from the fountain or you've had relationship with all leaders. And if we zoom in on Africa, Nigeria, from your experience with these leaders, these people, why is it tough to really have leadership that works in Nigeria for you based on your, your interaction with them? Because I'm sure you'll have asked questions of them. What is that one reason? And then we'll, of course, get into some other controversies. But I wanted to get your insight on that, Chief.
Well, I think I will call it the handiwork of psychophants. Leaders, once they get power, they are immediately swarmed over by sycophants who tell them, after God, it is you, or even you are bigger than God. If you see the way our people go all over our leaders, you will know that it's going to be difficult for them to perform. That's number one. So once you suffer from this geography, you realize that a leader will lose focus. And once you lose focus, you can't perform. Today, I see so many people. Yesterday, I looked at the newspaper and I saw the number of adverts in the newspapers for President Tinubu, and I just smiled. I'll be 65 in May by the grace of God. So I've been around long enough to have witnessed so many different administrations and governments. And I know that when you are in power, everybody will celebrate you. I don't know how many people will advertise in the newspapers today for Buhari or for President Jonathan or for even for President Obasanjo, who has been the luckiest of them all because he's been a very smart leader who has remained relevant globally, you know. But I can bet my life that if Tinubu quits today, the same rat race will begin. Nobody will remember to go to his. Only a few of his cronies will go there. All those who need billions and billions will disappear. They will evaporate. And then, so that's it.
Right.
So that is why I keep appealing to our leaders that don't mind whatever these sycophants are telling you. Listen to the critics. Listen to opposition. There will be something you can pick from them. But if you insist on following the sycophants, your acolytes and all of them,
right,
will fail like that before you.
Well, Chief Momodu, we'll come to the Tinubu government. Apparently, there's something called the economy of sycophancy, clearly. But I'm still staying with this picture. With all of the allegations of sexual harassment against Senate President Godswill Akpabio, seeing that this is a man you've shared good times with, did it come to you as a shock? Is this someone that you're able to say, well, I have known this man, and I don't think it is true, or it may be true? What was your opinion of it?
In literature, there is what we call the sociological approach in literature. And what does this mean? It means that you have to look at the background to every issue, every writing. So that picture has a background. It's not about sharing happy moments. I was attending a wedding of Ini Inenebong in Akwa Ibom when Akpabio was governor. He was father of the day while I was chairman of the wedding occasion. So he came in there, he saw me. He said, Dele, can you be in my state? You will not come to the state house. So he invited me over to the state house, and we had dinner and everything. So that was the occasion, not that we were too close. But I was fond of him. I like to look at the good sides in people. I don't like to look at just the ugly side. The good side in Akpabio was that he delivered as governor of Akwa Ibom State. I don't know what became of him after. You know, what usually happens is that people say he's leading a rubber stamping Senate. Perhaps out of fear of the presidency, the Nigerian president is the most powerful president, and maybe after Donald Trump, if not on equal level. Nigerian president is so powerful that one minister, Chief Alex Akinele, once told me under the Babangida government that the Nigerian president can turn a man into a woman and a woman into a man. So what I see in Akpabio today is a man who is afraid of something. A man who will do anything. If Tinubu says tomorrow, I want a top down, I can bet you in 5 minutes they will vote for him. So I don't know what happened after he became, but as governor, you know, he had the executive powers. And with the executive power, there is much more you can do for your state. And that was my admiration for him. And even in this his crisis, I think the game they are playing is wrong. I expected him to seek peace rather than all these acrimony about we want to recall a senator. What do you gain? What do you benefit? Okay, after you recall him, then it becomes an anticlimax. Same thing in Rivers, where Wike insisted on removing, you know, his predecessor, who he installed himself just because they felt out due to personal reasons between them. Now the whole state is suffering. So Akpabio, my advice to him, now that you are emphasizing his picture, is that once upon a time, some of us admired you as a great leader in Akwa Ibom, who developed that state. But today, you are being distracted by allegations just because of a sitting arrangement. If I were in your shoes, I will call Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and find a way to bring her back and settle this matter once and for all. Otherwise, it's not going to go well for you. Everything you ever built will go up in smoke.
All right, Chief Momodu. So now that you've touched on rivers, let's go there. I know that you've spoken about it. I know you posted something that was written by, I think it's Babafemi Ojodu, if I am correct. I saw it on your page. The president has made some very decisions that have gotten him a lot of flags from economic. The recent one has to do with this state of emergency. I'll need your take, especially the controversial suspending a governor, which the argument over it doesn't have that discretionary latitude empowered by law. I think I know the cases in the Supreme Court or so. So I would like your take on his declaration of the state of emergency, but especially suspending elected officials like the governor, deputy, and the State House of Assembly.
I think it is very unfortunate. President Tinubu, I know very, very, very well. Though I've not been in the same party and all that, but we were together in exile, and he fought gallantly for this democracy. So a lot of us, his co-comrades at that time, are actually very embarrassed that we have a pro-democracy leader in government, and yet what we are witnessing is worse than dictatorship. And I've said this openly so many times. I've pleaded with him in open letters that please, I don't care. You can fail in the economy, no problem. People will forgive you and say you are not a professor of economics. You can fail in other areas, but don't fail in democracy. You must deepen our democracy, which President Goodluck Jonathan succeeded in doing, which Baba Obasanjo, despite the allegations and accusations of a third-term attempt, still managed to hand over power to President Yaradua. So, but now it is less than 2 years into this government, and we are witnessing crisis upon crisis just because some people want second term. God gave you what he did not give Abiola. God gave you what he did not give Yaradua. What he did not give Olufalaye. What he did not give Chief Obafemi Awolowo. These were great leaders. They didn't have it. Now you have it. How you manage it is what matters. I'm pleading with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, please don't kill democracy in Nigeria. Everybody who loves him will tell him this. I've not asked him for anything or anything, but we love him for his contributions to democracy in the past, which is fast going down the drain. You do not need to hand over your future to God's bit of clay. I've written this over and over again. Just hold on to God. If God says you'll be there forever, so be it. But don't force it. What I see now is an attempt to force all governors in Nigeria to follow him by fire by force. It is wrong. If some people did not allow you to thrive, you will not be where you are today. So leave these people, leave these governors in their state. If they are in PDP, they are in Labour, if they are in ABGA, wherever they are, allow them to thrive in opposition. That is the meaning of democracy.
Chief, so are you saying by implication as well, so if we expand it further, are you saying that, okay, let me just ask, do you think that the Bola Tinubu administration is hostile to dissenting voices?
Oh, it's clear. That is too clear. That I'm unequivocal about that. It is very clear. And I can see them blackmailing everybody. Once you speak, I remember our governor in Bauchi State spoke the other day. By the following day, they had picked up one of his key officials, and taking him away. I remember when Bola Tinubu was being harassed by the Code of Conduct Tribunal. We all rose up stoutly to defend him. That you cannot oppress a man just because he's in opposition. That's why we are saying it confidently and openly, that Tinubu should not repeat this same nonsense that some people did to him in the past, that we all went against. We went against it. So today, everybody is afraid. I'm in the system. I'm 65. I must have friends everywhere. Everybody is dealing with Tinubu now with trepidation. You see opposition governors everybody falling over themselves to praise him. There is a story of how many Jova in Yoruba, people will deceive you when you have too much power. But watch your back. Just watch your back. Some of your closest allies, you'll be shocked what they will say behind you. And we know what they say behind it. So when you talk to him, at least he will not say, oh, Dele, why did you tell me at that time? I'm saying it now openly to millions of Nigerians that people are deceiving President Tinubu, and he should not allow people to deceive you. He should just do his job. The only thing that can guarantee you second time is to do your job well. You don't need to intimidate anybody. Don't intimidate Peter Obi, don't intimidate Atiku, don't intimidate anybody. Because you tried in opposition. Even under the military, we fought the military. And that is why we are where we are today. So how can a civilian government become more dictatorial than a military government? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, Momodu, the president over the weekend spoke about how he appointed the current Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, that's Bosun Tijani, saying in spite of the fact that he had spoken against him and the government, he appointed him. That was the president's example of how he even embraces dissenting voices. We can talk about Daniel Bwala now, who is now the presidential spokesperson. So from the president's perspective, he was trying to tell Nigerians that, well, I actually don't intimidate. I draw them closer. So do you have maybe specific examples that people can point to and say, well, this is how we intimidated maybe an Atiku Abubakar or a Peter Obi or someone in that stature of some sort?
You see, those people you mentioned are of no electoral value to President Tinubu. Okay, and I don't want to mention specific names. Leaders often like it when someone who has abused them before comes back crawling back to them. You know, we all have our individual ways of doing things. There is no way I would have abused Bola Tinubu the way some people abused him, and he will invite me to his government. I will thank him and say, thank you, sir. I'll find some other people. It's good that we're no longer fighting, but I'm not going to walk in you. Because now I'll be forced to say the exact opposite of the things I used to say about him. It doesn't make sense to me. But some people don't mind. They will find a way to justify it that, oh yeah, and then, you know, so maybe they are born again, they have now seen the light, but I'm not one of them. I have nothing personal against him. Anybody knows that tomorrow, if anybody tries to oppress or harass him and members of his family, I will be up in arms against such people. Because democracy must be constant. It must not be something that, let me tell you, all these we appointed that, okay, so what did Fubara do in Rivers that they could not forgive? Was there a breakdown of law and order in Rivers? So you will see that Rivers for them is very strategic in terms of votes and in terms of resources. If you look from the time of Dr. Peter Dele, Rivers had always funded most of our presidential elections. And on this side, I know what I'm talking about. Odili was part of those who funded the Yaradua campaign. Amechi funded Buhari's campaign. Regardless of what anybody can tell you, the bulk of that funding came from the direction of Rivers State. And then we came to, everybody knows that in Nigeria today, he is the man, he doesn't hide it, that he is stupendously wealthy, probably wealthy more than Tinubu, I don't know. But I'm happy about something that the president said last night. It's very instructive to me. And I'm so happy that Wike sat down there. Because Wike used to believe like he does not fear anybody, does not respect anybody. At least now I know he has a boss in Bola Tinubu, and the person protecting him is Bola Tinubu. Tinubu told him yesterday that if I see that you are moving more towards your own direction, you will lose your job. That for me was victory for democracy.
All right, Chief Momodu. Yeah, in winding down, maybe let's talk about Nyesom Wike for a moment. First, there are people in your party, the PDP, that are calling for his suspension because they felt it's a clog in the wheel. He's saying, look, I've brought a lot to the party, but they are saying now he's destroying the party. I don't know why you stand on that. And again, on this issue of Rivers State, people are saying there's a moral burden on the president to put him in check, to rein in on him, but we've not seen hard words, hard talk, or reprimand from the president, at least openly, against Nyesom Wike in the role he's playing in the Rivers crisis. What's your take as we wind down?
You know, I don't miss words. Whatever Wike is today, PDP made him. We know the origin. Wike himself knew I was a friend to his former boss, Rotimi Amechi. He knew how close we are. He used to tell me that he used to watch me and Amechi in those days when we were flying helicopters and all that. Wike today is totally made by PDP. He should tell us what he did before he joined PDP, before he became chairman of Obia for local government, before he became chief of staff to Rotimi Amechi, before he became Minister of State Education, before he became governor for 8 years, and before he became Minister of the FCT, today, Federal Capital Territory. He should tell us what he did, how much he made as a lawyer or whatever business he was doing before he became chairman of the local government. I mean, people should never forget where they are coming from. I don't have any problems with him fighting PDP. There were other people who left PDP before him, but they were able to come back to PDP because they did not destroy PDP. The PDP that Wike is fighting today is fighting as if there is no tomorrow. Just because they lost an election, and after losing an election, they said they promised him to be vice president. They didn't make him vice president. So is that enough to destroy the largest political party in Africa? It doesn't make sense to me, but I always say it's democracy. Before long, we shall see the end of this one too. Whether in 8 years or 12 years, whenever they leave power, we will be here if God willing we are around to write books so that we can write another fighting lions or maybe tigers. We are fighting.
We're fighting Amotekun. But Chief Momodu, you know, you just raised a very important issue about opposition in Nigeria. The president said it, and it was clear, saying, well, I need you to ensure that my party, the APC, wins the FCT. So if you're tilting towards, if I say it's tilting towards your party, the PDP, I'm going to fire you. And that alone is a lot of contradiction in one sentence. What is the place of opposition, the PDP now? What are the options available? I don't know if for you, Chief Momodu, you would like the president to continue from 2027. I don't know where your alliance is on that one. But what options are available? Because you have an Atiku Abubakar who probably still wants to run for president, collect power. You have a Peter Obi, you have a Nasir El-Rufai and all of that. But it looks like the PDP is not a place for them.
Look, anybody who knows me knows I'm a one-way traffic. I'm in PDP. For as long as I'm in PDP, I can't support Tinubu. I cannot do what Wike is doing. Wike is the only person who wants to eat his cake and have it. But you should know about the political theory in Nigeria, that Wike still has presidential ambition. And he's hoping that something will happen. And he knows he's not likely to get the ticket of APC. So what he's doing is to hold PDP down in reserve, so that when tomorrow comes, if tomorrow comes, then he is able to use the platform of PDP. He has to bend us well. He has told everybody that he has, and we saw it in the last presidential election during our primary. We saw it, and that's why he's so bitter. He was so sure. If I met a friend of his, a governor, a former governor, who told me that nobody can beat Wike, that Wike is the next president of Nigeria, I was shocked. At the George Hotel, the person who is watching it will remember. I went to see this man, and he told me that Wike is the next. I said, how? I said, He said something that I can't say on television. That Wike, there is nobody that can beat Wike. So that's why a former president called him inconsolable. He said Wike is inconsolable because he was so sure. He already saw himself in Nassau Rock. So whatever he's doing with President Tinubu today is a marriage of convenience. And I wish them the best of luck. I wish their marriage would survive and will not live with.
Chief, let's go to your state for a moment. We can't have somebody of your stature and you don't speak to the incident that happened in Uromi. It was a very unfortunate incident of that killing of the hunters also lynched to death. And there has been calls from across board that the people must be brought to justice. Maybe in closing, what your remarks are and what you made of that situation in our country.
Well, everybody knows that Nigeria is in turmoil. Every part of Nigeria right now have one problem or the other. And but I'm happy that the president, he has instructed that they should go after those dangerous, killers and all that. And that's all we can do. The president has maximum power. That's why he's called the commander-in-chief. I'm happy And I hope that his guys will rise up to the occasion and fish out all the criminals in every part of Nigeria, not just in my state, Edo State. It's so sad. In fact, sometimes it's like a nightmare to a lot of us that when did Nigeria descend so low, you know? But I wish all the families peace from God, and I hope they will get justice. That is key. You know, because for as long as you have unresolved killing, it will continue to happen. But when the killers see that if you kill and they find you, you'll be punished for it, then you can reduce crime. Crime without punishment is a very unfortunate thing.
Chief Momodu, always a delight to have you. You don't care whose ox is God. Frank talks straight up, speaking your mind. And we hope that a person like Nyesom Wike and the rest will be able to come and respond as well. But much thank you. We really appreciate you for coming. Former presidential candidate, the publisher of Vision magazine, and author of many books. I don't want to restrict it to Pendulum. I want to read many books, but the latest being The Pendulum. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless.
Okay, we will take a quick break. When we come back, we have two more things to do. The women are here, the women in business. We'll talk to them, also bring you up to speed with what you need to do around your gadget. In just a moment, join us again.
Never mind that it's a public holiday, because our devices actually don't go on a holiday, right? So let's basically get right into what we have for you on the program today. Mr. Akimbito, it's good to have you on the program.
Good to be back. Good morning.
I was checking the average lifespan of a laptop, right? And, my AI assistant gave me 3 to 5 years. And I said, no, not in this part of the world. You know, once you get that laptop, you're planning 10 to 15 years. And when you're done, you probably hand it over to the next generation. But that's just on a lighter note.
You're right.
But the point is, we want our devices to last longest, particularly when you see the prices of these devices. You're like, 3 million? Okay, this one you last for 10 years. So first off, how do we ensure that we get the most in terms of lifespan from our devices, particularly the computers and PCs?
It's interesting because all the conversations today have just followed the same theme. The doctor mentioned that if you could take care of your car, you need to take care of your body. So taking care of your devices, I'll just give us a couple of tips. First thing you want to do is clean the physical components. Have you checked the keyboards of some people's computers? You'll be wondering, wait, why would you be eating and be pressing your keyboard? You have oil smudge and all of the crumbs of your food on it. So those will get under the keyboard, underneath the keyboard, the trackpad or the mouse pad, and of course, cut it short. You would need to visit the technician more often. So please do not eat when you are using your computer. Do not use oily fingers to press your keyboard. If you must, please clean your hands. So you need to dust up your computer using a brush, soft brush. Please do not use rag. There are certain specialized cloths that you can use to clean your screen and your keyboard. It makes it last longer. Next thing you want to do, I've been talking about this recurrently, antivirus software. You should scan your computer, scan your device, even your mobile phones, your tablets, your computer, your desktops. You should scan them using antivirus software ever so often. Why? The bad actors do not go on break.
They don't go on public holidays.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So most operating system software publishers would bundle the security software in there. You should scan often, and it will make your computer last longer. Next thing is, most time when you install software, I'm going to use this app, I'm going to use this app, you don't open some of them for months. And what they do on your devices, they start up, when you start up your computer, you power it on, most of those apps will start up, and that's why your computer gets slower over time. You won't notice it until a day you need to do something like, what's the matter with this computer? Is there a virus? So what you want to do is disable most of those apps from starting up automatically.
We're giving the apps accommodation, like an IDP camp. Just give them some accommodation.
Ouch, that is below the belt. But you're right. So most of these apps that we do not use, you need to disable them from starting up automatically. If your computer is 5 years and above, years old, your computer now, you would want to do defragmentation. What does it mean? You know, when your room is scattered and you need to get something, you need to just be scrambling where they are. But if you have an organized room, you know where each what is. So when you copy something onto your computer, the computer, especially for older computers, they use the regular magnetic disk. And this disk spin very fast, and the head needs to go and read. Disk defragmentation will just reorder the data on your hard drive and makes the computer access them faster. But
not for the solid state.
No, that's why I said if you have 5 years or older, from 5 years to now, all computers ship with solid state drives.
There you go.
Yes, because they are much faster. They have gotten relatively cheaper. Lastly, please do not keep your computers in the trunk or the boot. We call it boot here. Americans call it trunk. The boot of your car. Here is very hot. We know. Even when you're walking on the road, you know how hot it is. If you keep your computers there, electronics and heat, they're enemies. The hotter it is, the more you want your computer to have ventilation. Why? Because the heat kills the battery. And I mentioned this before, that if your battery is not lasting as long as it used to be, heat is one of it.
And that's when you begin to see the battery getting pregnant and eventually never delivers.
Yeah, the tip of the week is this. In the advent of everybody moving to band A gradually, even if you are doing moonwalk, please, when your computer is 100% charged, please disconnect the adapter from the main source.
And then turn it off.
Even when you remove it from the computer, it's still drawing power.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because I saw a video recently of everybody's meter just beeping. Everything was red, because Band-Aid is not a joke. But we have to thank you so much. I've been speaking with Aki Bitoye.
Thank you for having me.
Tech Advisor. We appreciate your time on the show.
Always a pleasure.
So you're welcome. We do hope that your device lasts for longer. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we have very powerful women joining us, and we hope that will give you some sort of encouragement, inspiration with them. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's talk to the ladies in the house. And of course, we're talking about celebrating women in Women's Month. Today is the last day of the month of March. It's their month, as well as a segment we created called Women in Business. We've been joined on the program by two ladies. The founder, CEO of My Food Angels, Olakpeju Uma, joining us right here in our Lagos studios, as well as CEO, Jenny Milan Designs, Jennifer Opatola. Thank you, ladies, for coming on the program. Thank you so much.
Good to be here.
So I was asking, which is food, which is fashion? It's just a rhyme. I like it. So let's start with food. Food is important, and this is the holiday season. Let's just give one of the things Nigerians are complaining of right now is the cost of living, cost of food, and all of that. So how's your business thriving, or I don't know the right word to use now, challenges that you're facing in the business as far as this season is concerned?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me. So when I started the business in 2018, let me use an average cost of tomatoes. Tomatoes back then, 50 kg tomatoes. I would buy, there was a time I bought 2,500 in January, right? It's seasonal, right? But over the years, we've seen that this year's January, we bought 50 kg at 35,000 naira. So there's a huge gap. And of course, inflation adds to that. The average Nigerian spends over 51% of their monthly income on food alone. And so that's enough worry for even we in the sector, because more and more what we're seeing is that we cater to the middle class, and more what we're seeing is that the buying power of the average middle class is beginning to reduce. And so one of the things that My Food Angels is doing is to reduce the cost of having to procure food items. We're doing more of backward integration now, and moving the foods directly from the farmers to the consumer, boycotting where even the middlemen are beginning to have an effect on the food costs in the market. So that's one of the ways we are trying to ensure that the average Nigerian can eat fresh and live healthy while doing that.
That's really a big one. 2005 to 35, that's a long gap. Yeah. Similar question to you. I know your own is not food. Your own has to do with outlook and all of that, but it's equally important. It's part of the base. It's part of the basics of life. Is that a challenge you're facing as well?
Thank you for having me. Yes. The challenge there is, even as she has spoken about food, it also affects fashion, because back in the day, I used to have like great customers, like my Odogu customers. And right now, yes, like right now, I don't have them anymore because they have all left the country. So it has really affected business for us in the fashion industry. And we are trying to see how we can, cut costs, reduce costs by making, should I use the word cheaper? I don't want to use the word cheaper, like very affordable outfits so that we can still be in business. That's what I have to say. Yeah.
And I think that's natural. Yeah. Once you look at your costs, you look at the price, you want to put it out, and you see it's beyond the market. You have to find ways to stay within the market. Yeah. But I understand that there are different segments you cater to. You have the Odogus,
yes.
You have the middle class, and perhaps you have products as well for those. But as Jeffrey said, you people are, your segment is at the, this is clothing and food. So that's at the base in that sense, before you now move on to the other things of life. So we need these two things. Once you are well fed, you need clothes to go out to do your job. So these are very vital segments you operate in. But something happened before we came to you. Both of you held hands. I think you basically just did woman power. I caught that. I saw both of you doing that. And I want you to speak to how it is for women doing business, right? They say women are better managers, right? So once some men see that money is reducing in the house, they just send the money to the wife. So you manage it because they know the wife will manage it well. So what is the value of having a woman as a business owner that we really don't pay attention to? Because I think women offer a lot, but we still haven't been able to crack that. And I'll start with you.
Right. So, that's a great question because, in my sector, it's the statistics shows that only 1 out of 4 founders is a female founder that has been funded, right?
Say that again.
Only one, that's 25% of the funding that comes into the agri sector goes to women.
Right.
75% goes to the men. However, we see that female-led businesses are lasting longer, even though we're having to bootstrap doing that, right? The advantage of having a woman leading a business is that women are naturally nurturers, right? We incubate ideas. We're able to birth the idea. We're able to see this goal the long term. I think it's probably maybe a DNA thing. I don't know. But however, statistics shows that women-led businesses thrive better. And it's not to even rain the parade of the men, right? But however, what it is, right? So if we're able to have more confidence in the woman, let me use an example. So there was a day I was meeting with an investor, an intending investor, and he goes, how would you be able to defend, what's my guarantee that if I fund you, my money will not end up in your kitchen, right?
Oh.
Because I'm a woman. However, the same investor is quick to invest in other types of businesses that are in the same sector. I'm in food procurement. The investor is willing to invest in other ones that are led by men. So there's this kind of subtle bias that is there. It's there, but we're still equally enjoying from other financial organizations that are willing to fund women-led businesses. Do we need more? Of course we need more, right? There's only so much we can do by bootstrapping. If you have great funding coming to women-led businesses, in fact, I was at a program on the International Women's Day, and the title of the program was "Women are over-mentored and underfunded." So you see, you have a lot of programs being pushed to women. Come and learn this, come and learn, we'll mentor you. But where's the funding?
We have learned it.
Where's the crux of the matter?
I want to give you an opportunity to, I don't know what you responded to that investor, what your response was rather. Would the money end up in the kitchen? So I don't know. A lot of people might be asking women either covertly or overtly, I hope this money will end up in the kitchen or in your makeup and all of that. What is your response? I just want to take 30 seconds to speak to that before I come to that.
My response is this: check my books. That's how I've been able to respond to everyone. Check my books and see whether that money truly, because everything I've done so far is bootstrapping. So check my books and see whether over 8 years of being in business, my money is ending up in my kitchen.
So we're talking about ease of doing business. That subtle perception is a problem that has limited the amount of resources that come in the direction of women. In your view, what can be done to better reposition the fortunes of women besides this tokenism and lip service?
In my view, I would say women should be more visible. Like, they should make themselves more visible. They should make themselves, you know, be available to, you know, go for conferences, programs, and all whatnot. Like recently, I just I registered for Tony Elumenu's you know, foundation. Though I didn't get it, but it's my first time. But at least there was something that I did, and I was so excited doing it. I had other opportunities to make pitches on my business and all of that. And that has encouraged me as a businesswoman. So thank you.
I think one of the greatest pitches you've made so far is your outfit. Because your outfit is just telling us, patronize me. I'm pitching to you. I'm a good fashion person. Lovely outfit, by the way. And it's interesting to have this conversation because it's the last day of Women's History Month, and I imagine some people are thinking, finally, we can move on to other things. But no, we're going to stay on this matter because it can be tokenism, and we're just showing some of your work, by the way.
Thank you.
It can be tokenism. Don't worry, after these 31 days, we will move on from this matter and go to other things. So what must we stay on? We will stay on these issues, but for you, what are the things you want to still be talked about and acted upon beyond Women's History Month, which is March?
Right. So beyond Women's History Month, right? Let's look at the basics of having a woman thrive in business. I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the truth remains that. I mean, I was speaking with another media house recently, and they were asking me the same question, that they're seeing that more women are going into grants than actually going for maybe equity funding and the likes. And, you know, so you would naturally typically see women go for either grants or debt funding, debt financing, not because there is no equity funding out there, but because there's a sort of bias in that regard. And we know that, you know, when it comes to VC funding or even the private equity and all of that, it could take you farther than what a normal grant would take you, right? And that's because you're not just working with free capital. You have the backing of the VCs also helping you. So beyond Women's History Month, I would like the conversation to go on in how to see that the average woman is able to stand on her 2 feet in business and remain at it for a longer period.
Okay, your last take as we wind down.
Women are multitaskers, and I believe we should get all the encouragement that we deserve, not need. We should get all the encouragement that we deserve, and with that, we'll have more strength and be resilient at what we do. Thank you.
That's why we're here, to give you that support. These are little support.
Thank you.
To amplify your voices and whatever the things you're doing are in your various spaces. But must thank you both for so much that you're contributing. And we cannot say it enough. We can't say it enough because the contribution is quite vital. and we must walk away from tokenism if there's any conversation we have. But I must thank you, founder, CEO of My Food Angels, Olakpeju Uma, and Jennifer Patola, CEO, Jenny Milan Designs. Thank you both for coming on the program. I appreciate
for giving us food and clothing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back in just a moment. Stay with us. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. Sunrise Daily is up next at the top of the hour. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. Bye-bye. Eid al-Fitr, make sure to make the most of the season. Of course, imbibe all of the virtues, so it's beyond Ramadan. It flows all the way. I'm Kayode Okikelu. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.